Gonna talk about Wi-Fi tools versus vendor dashboards and how that kind of line is, it's almost like a line in the sand. It's blurring up a little bit. Given it's my presentation, there's the usual train wreck warning. In addition, usual flu warning. So, you know, if nothing comes out of my mouth, you'll be blessed with 15 minutes of extra time, okay? So to summarize what's going on here, like really this is what's happening, right? Tools and network infrastructure have been a little bit like separate, and now that line is kind of blurring up a little bit. And I'll show you a couple of tools, techniques, mechanisms, how this can be actually really useful for you as a Wi-Fi engineer. But at the same time, you kind of need to understand how these things work a little bit to kind of choose the best options for using these and just knowing that they exist, okay? Quickly about me, I'm Jussi. I'm from Finland, and I'm an RF nerd. Also, you may remember me from my hair, which I used to have 20 years ago, or my dance moves, also 20 years ago, or my style of clothing, right? And yes, that is a Nicolas Cage shirt and pants. So that's what I get the applause for. Thank you, guys. That's the substance you'll be getting today, okay? Thank you very much. Some of you may know me. I was at Ekahau for 15 years, and then I was at Bob and Suja and Sudhir hijacked me to Juniper for a couple of years. And then we started this. So this is 3.5 years ago, Hamina, and it was 3 of us. And the reason why you can't see all of the chair at the bottom is because it couldn't fit into the room. Like when we hired our employee number 3, we physically outgrew the office. I couldn't sit in the room. I had to sit like halfway in the corridor. Now we're like close to 40 people, and yeah, it's a pretty kick-ass team. I'm really fortunate to work with these guys. Real quickly before we start, we do have the worst evening event ever on Wednesday at like, I don't even know when, like 6 p.m. or something. But to compensate for the lack of substance there as well, we will be raffling prizes like G3 and, you know, Asium Nomad and you know, site survey apps and planner licenses and spectrum analyzers and that kind of stuff. So please come Wednesday, 6 p.m. or something, somewhere in this building. Okay, get to the point already. Let's do it. So, the way I see this kind of situation is networking vendors are kind of the core of our industry, looking at it from the tools vendor perspective. And us as tools vendors, we kind of lie there on the perimeter, and it's our job to like, do whatever the networking vendors are not focusing on, right? Maybe this could be like networking vendors are pretty busy, obviously doing different things, right? They have a lot on their plate, from Wi-Fi switching, routing, NAC, data center, whatever. And then Wi-Fi tools traditionally they've been really planning and site survey tools, right? And you know, some on-site troubleshooting as well, maybe on the spot, but that's it. But now that's also kind of started to evolve, like cabling, automatic deployment, whatever, private 5G, this kind of stuff. But still, it's our responsibility as Wi-Fi tools providers to kind of focus on whatever these networking vendors are not focusing on, right? So here's what's happening. There's been this line, this just, you know, same thing, couple of different ways, but there's this line which has been pretty hard, but now it's blurring out, and there's like different tasks that can be done in either or, and you know, it's just a whole mess that you guys as wireless engineers now need to figure out. And how is this possible? What happened? Like, short answer is really APIs, right? And you've heard tons of good API presentations during the last 5 years here. So I won't go into too much detail, but I will tell you a little bit on how for example, tools vendors use the APIs. Us at this point, and if history is of any indication, the rest a couple of years later. So APIs are nothing new, definitely nothing new. like you guys have been scripting, like Brian Ward has for the last 5 or 7 years, he's automated the crap out of his network, and so have most of you, right, using scripting and different kinds of tools. So API is new, not new, and for Wi-Fi tools, this API communication started in 2022. I don't know if anybody was here back in 2022 in like February or something like that. Yeah. Rodriguez remembers because we did the demo using Meraki integration actually. And yeah, it was our at that point high definition planning tool, right? You can see the pixel size and all. So what we did then is kind of demo this automatic deployment, like you create a network plan, click of a button, it automatically deploys it into Meraki, Juniper, Ruckus, whatever, as long as it's a cloud-based vendor that has the sufficient API coverage. So essentially, if you have 50 sites to deploy, you just design all of them quickly in Hamina, and then click a button and it's automatically deployed. That's what we showed then, and this was essentially APIs. We just made API calls to the vendor system saying, create a new site, first of all, and then commission these APs to the site, of correct types and things like that, add the floor plans, add the APs on the correct positions, this kind of stuff. So the site just starts to run as you plug in the APs after doing the RF plan in Hamina, assuming you have your configuration templates for the organization. Okay. And to give it more control, you could import the inventory first from the vendor system to Hamina to give you control of which AP exactly goes where, which serial number goes where. That's the past. Then we started looking at, could we help vendors with the visuals, with the maps, with things of that nature, and enhance the visuals a little bit. And some of you have seen some of this, but let me see if I can bring something new out. We always release new stuff at WLPC. Yesterday we released our spectrum analysis first version. We released our packet capture first version for the 4 radios, that kind of stuff. I didn't know. The guys just pushed them out, but that's great, I think. So here's the situation, right? This is the simulation. This is the planning tool side of things. But we still have 12 minutes, so maybe I could actually call my friend Joel Crane to kill some time. So let's see if he happens to be around. You may not be able to hear Joel, but I'll translate his American English into Finnish English. Okay. Hey Joel, how you doing, man?
Hey, Jussi.
Good to see you. When I said your name, the crowd went ecstatic. I don't know what's up with that, man. Woo! I mean, maybe I should look at our office. You're at our office, right?
I am, even though it's like 11 p.m. or 10 p.m. or something.
Oh man, I'm so sorry. So
it's okay. Timo Turki is here.
Oh, Timo Turki is there too. Excellent. Yeah, I think he probably coded last bits of this integration, a couple of minutes ago or something. So anyway, the planning tools are typically like, here's the simulation of the office, right? So you can move the APs and blah blah blah. And this simulation is actually calibrated also further using the survey data. So here's my survey data of the thing, but then let's click live. And all I've done is put in my API key. And this is now live coverage of the network. So it's not just live primary coverage, secondary coverage, anything you want. It's live interference. We can see that these guys are interfering on 6 gigahertz a little bit. It's live channel utilization, things of that nature. But if the heat maps look green and that Joel Crane guy is still complaining, which happens on occasion. No, I love you, man. So here we go. So what we're doing now is we're actually looking at Joel's laptop as he's moving around the site, and we can see that maybe the problem is actually fairly high channel utilization, and we kind of commanded the infrastructure to not only track Joel's laptop, but also to test against his laptop or whatever iPhone continuously. So we can see, like, I don't know, Joel, are you moving around the site and stuff like that? You mind?
I am. I'm walking around right now. If you look at Daphne's iPod or Penny's iPod, they're on scooters right now.
Oh, there we go. We just saw you roam from AP to AP as well, and we see the roam here as well, and that affected your ping latency, and of course, like your signal is going up and down and stuff like that. So what I'm saying is, it's our duty as tools vendors to kind of utilize the APIs and give a more visual perspective of the network, because that's maybe not where the vendors are always focusing on. So we can do live client tracking, things like that, and thanks to the APIs, for example, we can also look at I don't know, one of the APs. So let's look at the APs, how many active clients per radio, not just idle clients, but we actually start to test, like, or start to look at, like, okay, how many of the clients are immediately connecting to, or like right now connected with the AP, not just associated, but actually sending traffic through the AP, because it's a different thing, right? And we can look at, okay, we can list all the clients here, all of that kind of stuff, okay? Joel, are you still there?
Yep, still here.
Which device are you using? That's your iPhone, right? That you're.
I'm on my iPhone right now. It should be Joel's iPhone.
Yeah, I see that, man. I see that. You mind if I kick you out from the network?
No, that's fine.
Oh, okay, yeah. Toodaloo, man. It was nice seeing you. Thank you for the demo. Ladies and gentlemen, Joel Crane. And he froze for a while, but he got back on the network. So we just bounced him out for a second. But yeah, that's kind of cool. And the line gets blurrier, right? There he goes back to his desk. We can click on Joel's client, and then we can drill into more details on your Meraki, Mist, Aruba, whatever dashboard as well, to kind of have this seamless transition between the map view, which can be from the Wi-Fi tools vendor, which just accidentally happens to be ours right now. But then, like, there can be transitions between the two systems quite seamlessly if everything goes well, right? So that was that. The final thing, okay? So we looked at the heat maps live, channel utilization, coverage, blah blah blah, interference. Then we looked at the client, how it's doing. But what about what if it's a really hairy problem? The kind that where you need Peter McKenzie, right? Before we call McKenzie, we can actually go to the live client, and whenever we were looking at any of the clients for troubleshooting, we also stored the PCAP. All the communication between the client and the AP is here for you to download. And now let's emulate. I actually knew my stuff, and I had actually passed my CWAP. I've taken the course like 8 times. I've never done the test because, frankly, I'm just afraid. But there's our community. Like, there's all the packets between Joel and us. So you know, it's like, yeah, heat maps, clients, APs, and then drill down to packet capture if you want. This is the kind of stuff you'll start to see more and more. So this is all possible just by using the APIs. And then the question often is, and for example, like the question often is, like, how much are you utilizing the APIs and stuff like that? Are you going to break my cloud? And actually, Sudhir is back there. What he said to me last year was, Jussi, for the love of God, do not break Mist Cloud. So we are actually quite sparingly using the API. So there's these things called batch requests and stuff like that. And with a single request, we can actually do a boat ton of things. So the amount of data that we require from the API, the amount of API calls is very, very limited. And it's only used when you're actively looking at this system. So fear not. But that's a very common question, and it's a good question. So what happens there kind of under the hood? For example, for live heat maps is we take all the data we can from the network, maybe including how every AP sees every other AP, the AP locations, the floor plans, the AP configuration, stuff like that. And then we mush that with our like predictive models and three-dimensional whatever, and AI/ML, whatever. No, there's no AI/ML here. There might be a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of the way. And same, obviously, for the live client troubleshooting, and same for the live AP stats. But what we utilize quite heavily is actually PCAP streams as well. So we pick up stuff from the PCAP streams, we initiate those strategically, and then we can give the users access to the PCAP streams as well. Happy to talk about this later as well. But how can the heat maps then be so accurate? And this is kind of where it gets interesting for you guys as wireless engineers. Here's the thing. Like, for example, to look at the live heat maps, you probably want to use all the data you got to make kind of the RF analysis as accurate as possible. So if you've drawn your walls, if it's a full stack like Hamina project from design to or Ekahau or IB Wave, like what, if you draw your walls, objects, stuff like that, it makes the heat maps more accurate. If you do your surveys, we can use that and kind of build an attenuation model of the entire site and make it more accurate. If we get AP to AP RSSI, if the vendor is kind enough to give us AP to AP RSSI, we will use that too. And kind of it can be a combination of things, but whatever you throw at it, however, if you do more work with your project, it just gets more and more accurate. And there is selections for this, and you will see settings for this in the tools, and they are usually, just like in our tool, for example, they are pretty hidden. But like here's the 500 people who need to know these switches, okay? So maybe I could quickly, like here's just an example, like simulation prediction mode and live prediction mode. So for the simulation or the plan, we can use walls and objects, PLE, AP to AP, learn from surveys without walls, and then live, same thing. But these kind of settings you need to understand, you need to know, this affects the end result you will see, but it's our responsibility as a tools vendor to choose the right defaults for you so that it works as well as possible without you guys touching them. I have 3 minutes. So then there's different kind of RF analysis stuff. What you want to understand about the tools vendors or infrastructure versus tools vendors is usually the tools are used on site, on the floor level. That's the big difference. APs are on the ceiling level. Tools usually work on the floor level where the clients are. Okay, but they kind of show similar information. And the key factors to me, for example, here's our system without actually a spectrum analyzer. But the key things to me are channel utilization, which is the colors, and then which channels are the APs on, stuff like that, and then clients per channel as well. And luckily we can pick that up from beacons and stuff like that. So that kind of stuff can be shown. And then spectrum analysis is kind of the vendors have kind of maybe faded down on spec and capabilities a little bit in the last 10 years because RRMs have gotten better and they usually solve the problems pretty well. And then, tools vendors kind of plug that hole, including like our stuff like here. Last thing quickly. AI/ML. Okay, so vendors are really good at expanding their AI capabilities and kind of providing us things like AI-based alerts, AI-based RRM, even like predict my Zoom call quality. This is Bob Friday's baby, for example. He's here if you want to talk more with him, as are all the vendor reps. I'll just quickly show how AI would work in wireless tools, okay? I hope I don't go over too much. Keith is preparing to start to play music for me. Let's go to, I wish it was the Oscars, but I don't know, what should I put in here? Hilton floor plan, since we're here. Could we find the floor plan of this place? No, but I'll take a pretty low quality whatever floor plan from Google Images. I'll open it up from my downloads. Okay. Then maybe I'll drag that in here. And here's where the AI stuff, like substantial AI stuff, starts to work, right? Or as Eddie says, we should call it machine learning. Let's be honest with ourselves. So the machine learning automatically reads the scale. At the bottom, you may not be able to see it too well, but at the bottom there's a robot. So it takes a guess at the scale first. It's been trained with astronomical amounts of data. It can take a stab at the scale. Similarly, like what is the scope of the project or this floor? AI can also figure out kind of the scope of the building or exteriors of the building, so you don't need to draw the scope yourself, okay? And finally, the holy grail, I guess, is walls, right? There's this kind of effect, seems okay, and now AI also has shown you the walls, and you're ready to go, but of course you can then adjust the wall materials and stuff like that, but at least you get a pretty decent starting point from a friggin' crappy JPEG image or whatever this is. So yeah, I guess that's. Yeah, but I mean, would you trust this guy with all of this? I don't know, man. This is me last night, plus the hair. But thank you so much. I have 6 seconds left, so I'll just dance a little bit here.